What is up? I'm Miguel Antonio, and you are listening to the Live and Create podcast. It's where I interview artists and entrepreneurs about what it means to live a great life and create great things. And before we jump into the podcast, I'd love for you to check out my band, Run With It. Here's a clip from our song, I Need a Light.
It was the middle of the night. My only friend was the highway. I just started to drive. No direction, only miles spent. I was losing my mind. Nothing more than tears and shaking. Where the moon was so bright, we used to spin and spin. I see my darkest days, see my darkest days. I see my darkest days, see my darkest days. I need a light, so bright and the sun seems dim. I need something that will not fade, held tight like the hand of a friend. I need someone that won't run away.
If you like what you heard, make sure you check us out at Run With It Band, at Run With It Band, everywhere you follow people at, or go to runwithitband.net. It'll take you to all the different links you want to go to, and there'll be a little button you can click for booking information. Now for today's podcast.
The Live and Create podcast.
That was one thing I wanted to dive in today was the conversation, and maybe you just bringing it up. We can even start there, as an artist, because you're an out front artist, you're doing shows, but you're also heavy in the sync world. And then you also care about other people and mentoring them and investing in your family, investing in other people. How do you, I don't know, I'm curious, like, how do you set up your goals? How do you decide what happens when and where? What does that process look like for you?
Yeah, I gotta keep my life open. Like, I look at my life as a RPG. I'm a big video game head. So, you have your main quest line, you have your side quests, your optional quests. You got you got the people that you meet on your journey.
Right.
And so I try to stay flexible and just get laser focused on the immediate stuff that's right in my face. Like, okay, I know I got to knock this out this week. But if there's a conversation that opens up with, another creative, and we're talking about, networking, or they need some advice on something, I try to keep my life open to those moments, because those intangibles can lead to really big things.
Right.
Sometimes, video game nerd, like sometimes it's the small quest lines that leads into this grand thing, or this awesome level up that that the main quest doesn't provide, honestly. And so, you got to keep your life open for the intangibles.
It's funny you say that, because recently there's times I whisper, like, doing certain things. I'm like, this is like a side quest right now. This is not the main thing. And then and that's the part where I keep wrestling, because it feels like we could have like so many side quests in the music industry, right? And then in our lives as well. Like, how do we keep the main, I'm not
I know what you mean.
a game head. What do you call it? The main quest? Or
the main quest.
I'm thinking it's Zelda, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Zelda's a popular RPG, but the main quest, or the main thing, as long as the intangibles don't get in the way of the agenda that you set out, the goals that you set out for the week or for the month or whatever, as long as it's not encroaching on those core goals, we can, the be flexible, but also be stern. Like, hey, I said I was going to knock this album out. I'm not going to let a bunch of side quests and side conversations derail that goal, because it's going to bleed over into another month, and then it's going to compound all the other obligations and goals I'm trying to make for the next month. And so, you got to set realistic boundaries as well. That's very important.
Yeah, that's a tough one, because it does seem like especially when it comes to people. I'm very much a people person, but then it seems like very quick there's certain personalities or certain people that can start pulling you away, and it's easy to get wrapped in either drama or trying to help them, whatever. Like sometimes I talk with my oldest son about that. It's like everybody's building their own kingdom, and you got to make sure as you're partnering with each other, you know, it's we're both helping build each other's kingdom, but some people just want to tear other people's kingdoms down.
Yeah,
it's an interesting thing, man.
It's an interesting thing, and some people they may not want to tear your kingdom down, but they don't really have a firm vision on what their kingdom should look like, or what they're, you know, and so they don't mean any harm. They're just trying, you know, hey, being a creative being, being an artist, putting your music and your thoughts out there, your work out there. It's a scary thing for a lot of people. I know it was for me when I first started, and now it's like second nature now. It's like breathing air now because I'm used to it. You know, some people don't mean any harm, but you still got to set those boundaries. You know, I have people that, and be honest with you, like I do consultations as well. You know, I hate to say this, but it's always the artist that want free consultation, that
they don't understand the value of what they're getting at that point.
They don't, and then they never move on it. It's sometimes when people put a monetary value on your time, those are the people that's going to invest in themselves and take your advice to heart. But it's the ones that always wants a free, and it's a difference between a conversation and a consultation.
True.
You know, we can always talk music and the X's and O's of music production and stuff. But if you want me to dedicate, you know, an hour of my time to help your life, then okay,
build you strategies, you.
And okay, but you put a monetary value on that. Not just with me, with anyone, you know what I'm saying? Or like, hey man, thank you for your wisdom. Let me just can I get you lunch or something? You know, that goes a long way. But if you don't put any monetary value, those are the people I've seen in my experience that do not do anything. You've spent an hour of your life investing in someone else and they don't even follow through. You ask them 6 months from now, like, hey man, where's that album at? Or where's all those goals we set? I'm gonna get to it, you know, life be lifing, you know, like, all right, okay. You know,
you're like, I see where that is. And you bring up a great point, you know, to not assign malice where there's maybe just confusion or incompetence, you know, for somebody where they don't know exactly where they're going.
Yeah.
In that. For you, when you think of the quest, the RPG, am I saying it right?
You're saying it right.
RPG, look at me.
Yeah.
My drummer's big into video games and anime and everything. He'd be so proud of me right now.
There you go. Come on. Baby steps.
I'm getting there. But, you know, in this RPG of life, what would you say is your main quest? At the end of the day, this is where you're headed at the end of the game.
Yeah. You know, I don't really have an end goal. I was telling my wife this, you know, like I'm in my 40s and I feel as unbridled and passionate about music more than I ever have. I've been crafting music and poetry since I was 16 years old, and I'm in my 40s now, and I feel more alive now than ever. And so to me, music is really a journey. It's really not a destination. You know, as long as I can keep elevating, just keep making dope music, keep becoming a better songwriter. Me personally, I got my vocal performance good, but I'm still growing in that. But really, I want to grow as a songwriter. I am amazed at how people can just craft a whole world or a whole story in just 4 measures.
Yeah.
You know, I'm one of those old school hip hop heads where, you know, 16 bars. Okay, I got 16 bars, 8 measures. You know, I could tell my long story, you know, but there's people that can get to the point in their songwriting and just in 4 to 8 lines can just mesmerize you. I just want to keep growing as a songwriter. You know, I'm not there yet. I'm still growing.
Yeah, that's an incredible craft. That's, you know, we're working on that all the time, where we're working on a song right now where it started out with like the whole chorus had maybe 10 words, and we're like, can we cut it in half? Can we? And I think we we were able to get it down to like 3 or 4 words that actually communicated, in our opinion, more potently, I guess is the word. And we are also crafting it for the idea of an international audience.
That's
So we
awesome.
wanted it to be able to be accessible to someone who may not know English as well. So it's like, man, all these words are kind of in the way of that goal, you know,
Yeah.
right now. But there was a producer I heard once, I wish I could remember his name, where he was challenging his bands to write songs that only had 20 words, no more. The entire song could only have 20 words, but you still have to tell a story. You still have to create a hook, right? You still have to do all the things. And so every word becomes like carries so much weight at
Yeah,
that
that's
point.
powerful. That's powerful. I love that. I would love to do a workout like that as well. I think that's needed, especially for hip hop artists, because we're so wordy, so wordy. So even in the sync space, I'm trying to work on having a reduced essence, make my points without elongating the song, you know, unnecessarily.
Yeah, because hip hop, it's a lot of the, as you very much know, is the interplay of all these different, you know, analogies and words and entendres, like everything back and forth. And that is the beauty of hip hop. It is interesting though, when you think of, well, even right now we are tracking a song called Darkest Days. And I'm realizing, like, as I present it to the Sync Alliance and the community here soon for our first mix and first like kind of feedback, I already know I'm going to get dinged because I basically start singing from the beginning until the bridge. Like there's almost no like
intro
break.
And
But then it made me, while I was recording, it even made me think, okay, where can I put a breath? Like there were some words where I'd add little, you know, little melismatic, whatever lines where I would just like say the word and let it kind of shine. And give some space, you know, even finding little nuggets like that too, which in turn makes it, I think, a better song.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so many little nuances with sync licensing. You know, we're in the same community, so we're learning about spacing and letting your songs breathe. So if the song gets picked up for a sync placement, you know, the video editors and everything, they can put content and kind of, you're not too wordy where it's getting in the way of the vision of, you know, of the client and stuff. So yeah, it's an art. Sync licensing is an art, all of it, all on its own, you know.
Curious for you too, as an artist, you know, how you wrestle with that. With in the band, we discuss it. Even as I'm working, I'm doing like solo collaborations now, which is really fun. Trying to figure out how to create something that's artistic and impactful, yet at the same time can fit in this licensing world as well, because that's where our focus is, you know, and where there's a lot of opportunity. I'm curious for you, how do you balance that out? Are there some songs you don't submit? Are there some songs you do, or you just do your thing?
You know, I just do my thing, but I'm also a student, honestly. And so I'll take the advice, but I don't let it permeate every song. That, you know, it's sync licensing is so crazy. It's been times where I've submitted something that's been like wordy and doesn't fit into the mold of what we're learning in sync licensing. Those get picked up. I'm
You're
working.
like, everyone gave me notes on it, but someone just put it in a video game. So
that's right. Yeah. I mean, even right now, currently, I'm working on a custom job, and they're like, we need wordiness. We need, what did they say? Lyrical density, you know? So my first pass at what they were looking for, you know, it was more flowing with the track, and it was spacey, but they're like, no, fill up this space with words, double time. We want a fast rhythmic section for this hip hop breakdown. And so you got to give people what they want. You know, every project has a different vision. So
the hip hop head in you was like, yeah, let's go.
Let's do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Going. Yeah, it is curious to me as I'm learning the world, because I'm just under a year in the sync licensing world, right?
Awesome. Yeah.
Learned a lot. Most of my years just been focused on learning production, because we used to hire out producers and all that piece. So as a band, we were learning production to go faster. Long term. We're going slow right now to learn the techniques, but it'll go faster in the end. But yeah, it's been eye-opening, because it was something I didn't expect, is how many music supervisors we've been meeting who say, we love this because it doesn't sound like a sync song. It doesn't fit the rules. It doesn't fit all these things. And it gave me a lot of excitement, because I'm like, we already do the artist thing. Like that's what we live and breathe. And so it's like, oh, now all we got to do is every once in a while, they might say, hey, pull the pull the vocals on the chorus and just give us the woes or something. It's like, yeah, we can do that. Click, bounce again, you know?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And it is exciting to hear that even in what you're sharing here is that people are like, no, we're coming for the artistry. That's what we truly want.
Because, honestly, sync licensing is so vast, all it is sound sync to moving pictures. So in that, there's been times where I've worked, I did 22 episodes of AEW Collision on TNT last year, right? They went to this year they decided to go with a Elton John license. But I was the theme song of that wrestling program.
Dude, that's amazing. 22 episodes too. Woo!
22 episodes. Yeah. I'm very thankful for that opportunity. But yeah, I've never had an issue working with those guys over at AEW with, being super wordy. They want that. But then, over in the movie trailer space, they want that spaciness, that airiness, that, where your words don't get in the way, So it depends on what avenue in the sync licensing industry you're going after.
If you're there, froze up. If you can hear me.
Can you hear me now?
Let me see.
Can you see me now?
Back.
I'm here. I can see you.
If you can hear me, it froze on us.
Hello, hello. Hello, hello.
I think, are you back?
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
All right. Sweet. Yeah, we're back in.
Sorry about that. It's this internet and all these devices connected to my internet. Yeah. You can see me now?
Yeah, I got you. You got me in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. My boys all woke up. It's summertime still, so they're all here.
Nope, I know. I know. Go ahead.
Hey, guys. Can you guys keep it down? Thank you. All right. I think we're back.
Where did we leave off at? I'm so sorry.
Man, I got distracted when my boys started talking and apparently having a party in the kitchen. So let's try to backtrack. Where were we?
Sure.
We were
talking about
artistry. We were talking about 22 episodes of your,
22
and they switched to Elton John's thing, which, I mean, if you're going to lose out to someone, why not lose out to Elton John?
Why not lose out to the king?
I remember when you shared that in the community, I was like, I mean, it's still kind of cool. Right?
Yeah.
You're like, your stuff was so good. The only thing that topped it was Elton John.
Hey, but yeah, with those guys, they wanted the wordiness and the powerful vocal performance and everything like that. But then, once you're over trying to get a placement with a movie trailer, they want the openness. We were talking about the spaciness in sync licensing. It just depends on where at in the sync world you're trying to get your music to land, different, Yeah.
And that is a fun thing I've been learning about the world too, is as you see diverse people come into the Sync Alliance, all different genres, all different vibes, and all of them, as these music supervisors will have like an idea, oh, this would actually fit perfect here. Where it's like if you're true to yourself and take notes though, like there's adjustments, there's growth that has to happen.
Right.
But be true to yourself. You're going to find your lane.
You are.
One thing you share a lot about is the relationships and the communities that you've invested in. Sounds like definitely in the video game world. I wasn't sure if there's like anime world as well in there too.
A little bit.
Can you share a little bit about what that looks like? Because you've been an artist since 16, right? To now. And then in the sync world, if I remember right, a decade, 12 years?
Decade. Yep. About 12 years in. Yep.
Right. And so, yeah, I'm curious, when looking at that long-term vision, how important has embedding yourself in the right communities been for your sync career and your music career?
It's been so important. Sometimes, so I got this motto: if you're kind to culture, culture will be kind to you. It's been times where sometimes making music for a niche market or niche community can lead to sync placements. That's how, honestly, I got in the game. I started, so there's this huge video game tournament where all the best players in the world from Japan and Mexico and Dominican Republic in the States, everybody just come together for this big tournament in Vegas called Evolution Championship. And I've been making hype songs for that tournament for years. The second year I made music for them, Microsoft was looking for a rapper for TJ Combo stage on Killer Instinct. And so basically I got my first big sync placement in a video game from making music in the culture of video game tournaments.
That's amazing.
And so I believe I am, even this year, I've been working with Evo for 12 years and write for other video game tournaments as well that's on that level. And even this year, it led to another in-game video game placement. So, I don't know what that looks like in other situations, but just
that's amazing.
As an artist, just throw yourself into the culture that you're passionate about, and some placements and some awesome things can happen from there.
Yeah. No, that's really, really cool. And it seems like that long-term perspective, one thing everyone keeps saying is it's a get rich slow business. And is a good, I think even yesterday they reminded in the session, it's like most people, it takes them 2 years, really going into that. What did it look like for you though? Because if I remember right, yours started with a placement, but then you had to learn the world. Is that correct?
I didn't even know what I was doing was sync licensing.
There's just suddenly money showing up. You're like, whoa, is that what?
Right. I didn't know what to call it. I just know I love video games, and I was honored to be a part of a video game. But once I started learning the industry of the sync world, honestly, I'm more excited about the brand that I'm building than the money that's coming.
I remember you sharing that as well.
I would say to anybody that's looking to get in the sync game, it may take 2 years. It may take a year before you get your first placement. But after that first placement, really look to build your brand. As soon as you get your first placement, go to IMDb, create a pro account for a month at least, and make sure that your first sync placement is attached to your name.
I got to go do that. I realized we had one. It wasn't a paid one, but we were in a Veterans for Cannabis thing. And now I'm like, hearing you say that, I'm like, shit, I got to make that happen right now.
You'd be surprised how many people look at your IMDb page, and, I look at my IMDb page and I'm like, wow, you get to see the progress.
Right.
I
bet if they saw yours, they're like, this dude knows what he's doing.
Yeah. I mean, it makes your brand respected. Right. When and then you can negotiate for more money because they don't feel like they're giving you a shot. They feel like, well, man, this guy's a veteran in this space. We need to pay this guy some more, or what is his asking price? You just get respected more. But if it's just like your music on Spotify and everywhere. If your music is everywhere and you don't have it connected, laser focused, streamlined to you and your profile and your brand, your music's going to be everywhere and you're going to miss out on opportunities. And so just make sure you build your brand, because I'll be honest with you, when it comes to sync licensing, it's a very humbling experience because they're selecting you because they don't have the budget for a big name artist. And you have to sit and rectify that. I want to build my brand to the point where now I'm the celebrity artist that they want to use music for. I'm not just fill in, but for right now I am in some situations. I'm okay with that. Right. Because if they don't have a budget, even with AEW, I remember the first time I worked with AEW, it was for one of their pay-per-view events. They really wanted to get a Rick Ross license. They wanted to license one of Rick Ross songs, but it was like 10 G's or something. They didn't want to do it. Okay, they paid me a couple $100, and then I got the placement. I got the push. I was on their pay-per-view, and so I'm fine with that. But also I'm going to take the situation and make sure that moment, that event is connected to me, at least on IMDb, so I can further build my brand.
No, it's smart. It makes me think of how we market, like in the live world, where it's like our EPK that we send to potential, venues or clients, that kind of thing. you know, you just see icons of all the places we played from here to
There
the
you
Middle
go.
East. You know, it's like, because like you said, they open that up. I've watched people do it where it's like you send it to them and then, you know, like
Like,
you're sitting there talking at a bar and they're like, oh, really? When'd you do that? What, you out here? It's like, they're like, okay, now I see it. Your work, you know, speaks for you
it does.
in that regard. And that's tough, you know, like for someone like me in the licensing world, right? Because my work, other than the music, like obviously we got the music, but the placements aren't there. What would you say, you know, someone in my position, anyone listening who's like, man, I want to get into this, what's the best thing they can focus on at that moment before they're first?
Yeah, I say that kind of don't live and die off of, okay, my song, okay, I got our new EP or our new song connected with a sync agent or a sync licensing company. Because then you might be, you know, it's in their catalog. That's a great thing.
Right.
But you're gonna be waiting in the middle, while you're waiting,
I'm laughing because that's what's happening right now. Is we're just waiting after we submitted all of our stuff to the new library we're with.
Exactly. Yeah. While you're waiting on them to pitch your music to different opportunities, what's going on locally? Like there's a mom and pop shop that just saved up, you know, a couple $100 to finally get their commercial for their brick and mortar restaurant on, you know, cable access. Why are you not the theme song for that couple right there? There's a local high school football team that just got new jerseys. Why is your music not the theme song for their, you know, there's life is happening on a local level where people need music. You know, why are we not in those spaces? And that's branding as well that we can use and throw up on our IMDb page and stuff like that, and on our credentials and stuff. So like, you know, most of my sync opportunities happen because I connected with people. I've got some really big placements with, you know, working with sync agents and sync companies, but the majority of my sync placements over these past 12 years has just been relationships, you know, and you know, it might be somebody you met in college, you went off and started a band, but then they got heavy into radio, or they were a video guy, and now everybody's leveling up, you know.
Yep.
So those friends that you meet, keep in contact with them, check on them periodically. Like, hey man, yeah, I just opened my own video production company. We need some music. What you got? Okay, there we go. You know what I'm saying? And so,
yeah, be nice to the people who are putting, you know, the green M&Ms in your green room too.
There you go.
I had a friend, they met, it was like an intern in a studio. He was just the gopher, getting them coffee, getting them, you know, lunch, all that kind of thing. And it's like years later, that guy became head of A&R at one of the labels. And as soon as they asked him, he had followed their band as they continued to hustle. As soon as they asked him who, he gave him a call. Next thing you know, they got their first publishing deal through it. They're like doing stadium tours, like opening for other artists in stadiums.
There you go.
He was like, dude, all it was just, we wanted to treat everyone with respect. And he was the intern. So we still were nice to him. We just talked to him.
That's awesome.
We weren't even networking. You know, we were just being nice. And he's like, next thing you know, dude, I remember. So for the listener, we didn't even get a chance to talk about it. This is our second go at this podcast.
It's okay.
Because it's like, I think I'm at 100 and how many episodes? This is for my own pride. I have to put this out here.
Okay.
Out of 100 and let's see where we're at. You're going to be episode 178. Out of 178 episodes, I've only forgot to hit record twice. And once was Mickey P way back in the day. And then on Omega this last time. And we talk about respecting someone's time. I felt so bad, but you know, a month later we came together. But what's cool is the conversation's weaving differently, but there's certain things that popped out that I remember from that initial conversation. And this especially this one, I remember you sharing the same thought of like, why can't you be the theme song of your local high school? Why can't you be the theme song of these other artists? And that was one thing as we were looking at the World Cup, and Kansas City is one of the host cities. And so we're working on some songs right now that we think could fit that. That was that one with the international vibe. And because I think one of our sessions with a music supervisor, or maybe with just Josh Williams, I was asking about the World Cup, and they said all the big stuff's already booked, and you can go look at the big playlists. You know, they got all Tech Nine as Kansas City's, you know, main artist, all that.
Yeah.
But they were like, here in the next 6 months, everybody is getting ready to host the World Cup. Like every coffee shop, every bar,
exactly.
You're going to have 40 days of, I can't remember how many teams are bringing like 40 to 120 of their entourage, plus all the fans, like the business and commerce that's going on. They're like, they're going to be hungry. They can't afford Tech Nine's track. They can't afford Travis Scott. They can't afford this, but they can afford yours. And there's opportunity to grow. And man, that would be, I love that tenacity of it. Yeah, it's amazing.
I love it. I mean, because think about it, like for everyone out there that's you know, checking this out, what if during the World Cup you basically put your business out there and say, hey, you know, I'm this guy, I'm in the sync licensing world, and like put your calling card out on the online and on the internet. Like, hey, if you need some high quality music for a low budget, we will create original music for whatever you got going on around the World Cup. You'll be surprised. You might get 100 clients. You might get 100 placements right there. You know, it may not be the biggest budget, but it's, you know, and so that's my advice to people. Don't live and die off of your catalog sitting with a sync agent or a sync company. There's stuff you can be doing on a daily or weekly basis, because at the end of the day, we want a great experience as well. There's a lot of people that get into sync licensing and like, okay, you know what, you know,
it's only going to work. It's like the energy you put in is the energy that's going to come back. You know, like I think
exactly
when you, or what you know, what other analogies, like you reap what you sow. Like if you don't go out there, plant the seeds and put the fertilizer in, and you know, weed it, you know, do all that stuff. Like, and I love it too, where you talk about the libraries, because the libraries, from my understanding, are important. I got Nathan Foreman from Super Selective. He's coming on the podcast here soon. And we ended up signing with him. I had another opportunity to sign with a company, but there's some distinct differences where the Super Selective was non-exclusive. Like they're hustling it. They're trying to grow their business. But he specifically said, you're new to the business and their company's pretty new. He's like, so I want you to go out and just communicate with us. Like, go meet. He even told me a certain music supervisor. He's like, your music would fit great with what they work on. Go find a way to build a relationship with them. We'll keep hustling our end. And you know, the other one, everything was just locked in. And I was like, maybe not. And so anyone who's out there, again, me giving advice is hilarious because I'm just a year in. But what I learned was there are people who are open, and you don't have to sign a contract where you're locked in ever. Like there was literally one library, if I submitted to them, they would own it in perpetuity. And I was almost tempted because I was like, it was the first one. And I was like, maybe I just need to get my stuff out and out. And I'm glad I didn't. And you know, meeting people like Nathan Foreman, and I feel like more people are like him, at least the people I've been meeting, who are open and they're hustling, but they're also open and they want to see you grow too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can still hear me? I'm good. Yep. Yeah, I tell you, it's the internet. Yeah, Nathan Foreman is so awesome because he really cares about artists. You know, he's an artist himself. He's a producer himself. He loves it. And through him, I've been able to see the kind of like the behind the scenes of the sync licensing world. He gives us incredible, you know, I'm signed with him as well with a few of my songs. And I work with his artist a lot. And his wisdom is paramount. And then, you know, but I want to say this, like I've also this year have dealt with that issue where there's some bigger name sync companies and they're like, we want the exclusive control. You know, sometimes those deals are not bad. They're not bad. Because the clients that those companies work with, like if you land something with Disney wants full rights. I'm sorry.
And that's fair. And that's a great point. Cause like for us, it was just like little old run with it right now, signing our catalog to small little label. Like it didn't make sense. But I feel you on that where, if someone's dropping, you know, $500,000 or whatever it is, you're going to be in the next
crazy.
Finding Nemo. Like, yeah, you get that song, not the catalog, but you can have the song forever. That's cool. Just make sure
Yeah,
it keeps coming down the pipe.
exactly. Or sometimes it doesn't keep coming down the pipe and it's a buyout.
Okay.
And then you're like, are you cool with making, $10,000, but you'll never see another cent from the song? That's why I'm a big component with make a lot of music. Make a
Right.
lot of music with a lot of different people. And, like last year, I did 100-song challenge. I did 100 songs last year. I don't know if I'm gonna make it to 100 this year. Right now I'm at like 52. But I've also been getting more custom work, like clients that just need me. And
Mm-hmm.
I just finished another video game project. I was locked down for weeks, making sure, once I do custom work, I stopped working on other projects for a while.
Push everything
But
out.
yeah, just laser focus
That
on
is the
giving.
quest.
That is the quest. That's the quest for that week or for that month or whatever. Yeah. But just make a lot of music. And when you make a lot of music, you can be like, you know what? I really don't like doing exclusive perpetuity and all that, but I'm gonna try these guys out right now. I'll
Mm-hmm.
give them this song or these 3 songs kind of as a rangefinder
Hmm.
and to see how it feels. So if I take a L on this, okay, at least I know I'm not working with that company anymore. Or
Right.
if something huge come from it, then okay, maybe I'll be a little more next time I work with them, I'll be a little more open to doing the exclusive thing. But there's some bigger name sync companies out here in the world where they're directly connected to like one of the major record labels and stuff like that, where it has to be, that's their bottom line. It has to be exclusive.
Yeah, we haven't played at that level yet. And I say yet. We're going to keep building.
That's right. Yeah.
You kind of inspire me because the door's still open with the other company where I could
Mm-hmm.
do top line for some of their producers. So
Please do. Yes.
maybe I should just pick 5 tracks, do an EP with one of their producers and
That's it.
sign it because it was per song. So yeah, just to see, if anything, like I get better at songwriting, I get to partner and learn some new tools from another producer, that kind of thing.
There is I do have a happy story connected with an exclusive
Okay.
situation. So I'll say Liquid Cinema. Liquid Cinema is a sync company out here, right? Everything I do with them is exclusive. I'm making content for their in-house catalog
Okay.
when I work with them. There's one particular song that I did with one of their in-house producers. But this one song ended up getting like 8 different placements.
Okay.
It became the song for a wrestler on Impact Wrestling
Yeah.
on what I'm saying. It was in an international film. It was NFL Now picked it up and it was like one of their go-to songs during one of their segments for a whole season. Like this one song got me like 8 different sync placements over the past 5 years. And it was something I did exclusively with just one sync company. And so
Okay.
sometimes it pays off because Liquid Cinema is connected with, a big name record company. They have the clientele that they have is big time in the industry and stuff like that. And so a lot of times the exclusivity, it eliminates steps for bigger name companies. So if ESPN is working with a smaller sync company,
Mm-hmm.
they just want to be able to grab music and not have to worry about any of the logistics. So a
I
lot of
see.
times these bigger name TV networks, they'll exclusively work with 1 or 2 sync companies because those sync companies have been vetted.
Mm-hmm.
And so they can take music from that catalog with no issues, no questions, and it's all exclusive. They don't have to worry about getting sued or anything crazy like that.
Right.
Though, you know what I'm saying? So that's how it normally works. So the exclusivity just creates a little trust on the back end between the big TV networks and those sync companies.
Man, that's a great perspective. I'm glad we hit on that because yeah, I have a collaboration I'm in right now. I got one lined up in October. I don't have anything for September or November. Maybe I should just go back to
Mm,
that other place and say, hey, well, let's do 5 songs and make it exclusive, just see what's up and see how it goes with it. That's cool. I love it.
It's fun. As long as they're not locking you down as an artist.
Yeah, that was where I had submitted our music originally, like our full catalog, and they're like, oh, this would be the terms. And I was like, I can't give you these songs.
Yeah, I feel you.
But then they kind of open up that other door with like, you can do top line per EP.
Heck yeah.
And I was like, but yeah, that makes sense. And to have different things in different places. I love it. I'm going to do it. Thank you.
Do it.
Dropping gems, dropping gems. It's like diamonds. You're leaving diamonds along my quest as you continue
there you
on.
Go. There you go. That's a good video game right there.
When you think of your brand, how would you define your brand?
Yeah, high energy, hip hop, chaotic, passionate. Yeah, just to me, like music is something primal. Like I tap into parts of myself I can't be on a daily basis. Like I can't. My wife be like, what you want to eat? That's the wrong place to do it.
I got 16 bars to tell you what I want to eat and why I want to eat it.
I want breakfast and cereal and ethereal. No, that would just lead to awkwardness with my wife.
I could only imagine her face. She's just like looking at you holding coffee.
Really? Okay,
I got eggs. So
I got eggs. Hey, what do you want? Who's going to start with eggs? What do you want to do? And so, for me, writing and recording is I get to discover more of myself. And so I love it. I forgot your question. I just love
just talking about describing your brand, but you hit on something that we did talk about a bit too on the last one. It kind of opened to my brain is the concept of like swagger, the swagger you need to be like an artist or be on stage, like rock and rap. It has its own swagger, but you kind of need to have that, like this ego in a way, but it's not always helpful in everyday life. Like you said, you don't want to come swaggering into breakfast and being an ass to your wife or your kids, those kind of things.
Right.
And and you hit on that concept of, exploring yourself. Do you have like an alter ego? I forget what Beyonce called her, like Sasha Fire. Or something.
Yeah, it's Sasha Fierce.
Sasha Fierce.
There well, Omega. Yeah, I have a couple of. I'm a weird guy. I'm sorry. So
I love it.
Yeah, I got different names for different pockets, different vocal performances that I go into and stuff like that. Omega Sparx is the main guy, and then there's other ones. There's another guy. It's so embarrassing. A lot of times these names are not like public knowledge. It's just
I get that
inner stuff. Like, okay.
I have my constructs as well, but I don't necessarily talk about it a whole lot.
So Omega Sparx is the main guy. That's the main.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I'm in a pocket where it's not a lot of gruff, and it's more melodic, or it's still confidence without all the brashness and bravado. And so that's another ego as well. It's fun. It's fun playing around with different corners of your personality,
right.
Because we're complex beings, we don't always feel the same way about every situation. Sometimes we grow. Hopefully we're growing in life. And I did feel passionate. I did have this opinion about this situation here, but now I've changed. Or you're in certain situations where you have to write for a character or for a situation. And you're like, well, the day-to-day me would never even be in this situation. But
how do I tap into that?
And so it's more like, even voice acting. Like I'm dipping my toes into becoming a voice actor. And I've done voiceover work for clients before, but like bringing the voice acting into your performances, vocal performances for sync licensing, that helps as well. Because honestly, in my honest approach to music is this: people don't care what I think. I don't, even in my faith-based music and stuff like that, I don't do a lot of, well, this is what I think of the world, and I think you should think the way I think. And if you don't, then we have a problem. Like, no, I don't, people don't care what I think, you know what I'm saying? Like and some people do, fans and stuff, but for the most part, people don't care what I think. And so I don't want my thoughts about situations to get in the way of providing great music for people. People want to see if you can capture the moment or the topic or the subject of what you're performing about. And if you can, and do it in a non-biased way and keep it open for even people on different sides of the perspective, like, for example, like gun violence. There's some people that's like, I'm squeamish about guns. I don't like guns. But then you got a sync placement talking about an FBI agent that uses firearms to get out of situations. How can you talk about that subject that's universal for people that don't like guns and for people that are gun fanatics? You know what I'm saying? So maybe you, instead of talking about the subject of guns, talk about the emotional toll of that character having to take a life in order to, defend the line of duty and stuff like that. Talk about the emotional thing. It's the emotions that connect us all together, no matter, your worldview or anything like that. So,
that's cool. I just got done watching 28 Years Later. Have you seen that one?
Oh, I haven't seen the last one yet. I can't wait.
It's honestly strong words, but I think it's a masterpiece of cinema. It's beautifully shot. The story is powerful, but I think being because a lot of people talk about when you're in the licensing world, you're not in the music industry anymore. You're in the film and TV industry. And that's been kind of a flip for me, but that is something with songwriting, but thinking of like a writer for a movie, a script writer. Because no one's ever been in a zombie apocalypse 28 years after the initial outbreak, right? Nobody has, but somehow they were able to tell this very powerful story through, I won't ruin anything, but
can't wait to
they
see
tapped into what you were describing, because really it's a story about a father and a son.
Right. See?
In this, and I got chills just thinking about it, because the dynamics that they played between the father and the son and the boy coming to age.
Yeah.
It was a father-son coming to age movie, set in a zombie apocalypse. And it was beautifully done. And I wonder, like, we wrestle with that with our songwriting as well. It's like, how do we tell these stories and bring people? Because we have certain songs that are kind of like I didn't go through those things personally. But now that we're writing collectively, it's almost like tidbits of all of our lives that we crafted this story of a new character, and making it part of who the band is. And
I love it.
It's a fun exploration.
Yeah, it is. That's what makes for good songs right there.
Yeah.
When you can, and so, honestly, like music, as much as it's fun to learn about yourself, it is a reduced essence. Like I can't get in the way of my music.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of artists, whether in the sync space or just, being an artist, we get in the way of our own artistry,
Right.
Like who cares what you think? Just make some dope music, you know what I'm saying? What's the topic? What's the subject? And then just be a great songwriter, If somebody really wants to know what I think, we'll have a conversation about what I think. But now,
go check out the podcast.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Well, that's a great point. Like, as artists, we tend to get in our way. When you think of even promoting online, and putting stuff out there where it's like, hey, and I get this, and I have done this. Okay. So I'm just going to throw that out there if anyone wants to ding me for it. I have done it, and I get it, where it's like, hey, worked on this song. We really love this song. We believe in this song. This song is about me. It's essentially like, look at this cool thing we did. We're excited about it, as opposed to, there's a rapper named Echo, EKOH.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's from Kansas City, right? Originally. And I watched him grow. So side note, he was our server at On the Border here in Kansas City.
Okay. We got to own a border too. Okay.
It's since shut down. Not his fault, but he was like, I'm a rapper. And I'm like, okay, cool. You know how you meet rappers?
Yeah.
Who are servers, and you're like, cool. Kind of like when I tell people I'm a professional musician, they're like, cool. What do you really do? But I followed him and didn't think much of it. And I saw like all of a sudden he's like playing venues. Next thing you know, he's on tour. Next thing you know, he's like got on billboards. Next thing you know, he's like getting sponsored. I'm like, dude, this dude did incredible things. But one thing I noticed about how he did it was he did these very personal songs, but there was always like a little tagline on the video about the fan, about how valuable this is to you. Not because I wrote it, not even that you know about me. It's like, you know, if anyone's ever felt like a lot of his stuff is like emo rap, it's like if anyone's ever felt like killing themselves or ending themselves, he's sitting on a roof with a microphone. You know, this song's for you so you can wake up for another sun. You know, those kind of things, you know, and I'm like, when I saw him do that, I was like, and I watched him just build and build and build. He's doing incredible things. And, you know, he taught me about arbol peppers back in the day. So that's my claim to knowing him. That's about it.
Good job, man.
But yeah, making it about, that's what we have a lot of conversations as we get ready to start. We're going to start dropping one song a month as a band.
Awesome.
And then I got my own collaborations as a solo artist. But it's like, now this song, we wrote it, but why is it important to other people?
That's right.
How do we connect to other people? Why is it important to their lives? What's going to make them turn this on at 11 o'clock when they're leaving a place where there's got an argument with somebody, you know, like trying to find that. And I think, the wrestling with the same thing in the sync world too. It's like, why?
It's the same premise. Yeah. Why does that? Yeah. And if we can connect, then that music supervisor on the other end of the spectrum, they're going to fall in love with the song and like, wait a minute now, this encapsulates a lot of what we're trying to say in this film or in this production. Yeah, I gotta have this song. And so, yeah, it's the same thing. Just So just get out your own way. If you're listening, just get out your own way, you know?
That's a great way to kind of tag out on that part, man. The last two questions of the podcast. Right now in your life, how would you define creating a great life?
Where you have creating a great life is space to me. Like I have the space to make mistakes. I have the space to experiment. I have the, you know, in a safe environment with around a community that gets what I'm trying to do creatively and stuff. Like to me, that's success to me, you know, just having the space. And then, you know, if you make good enough music, then hopefully it'll create financial peace and financial space for you, and where you can do more with your time and make more mistakes and make more, experiment more and stuff. To me, that's my definition.
I love it. That's awesome. Space in music, space in life. It all pays off.
Yeah. Cause when you have space and time, you can do some incredible things. So like, you know, even taking a look at your life, like what are there people or situations in my life that has nothing to do with the main quest line and nothing to do with my main goals in life that are draining me? You know, sometimes people and things can really drain the life out of an artist. And it's like, you got to just sit and evaluate, like, you know, if this person isn't adding value to my life, if it's a one-sided conversation and they're pulling from me, but they offer nothing for me to pull from them when I need help, then this is a one-sided friendship. And so I'm going to have, you know, maybe instead of talking with this person every day, or this person being the go-to person I talk with because they're not adding any value to my life, you know, maybe I'll find somebody to replace that friendship, and I'll talk to that person maybe once a month instead of every other day. You know, like really, you know, I don't know. Life is short, man. It's like, you know, we don't have to stay in situations that we're in, honestly. Yeah. And I don't mean that to be a jerk or be mean, but like, I just want to surround myself with, I need to be weak. I need to be vulnerable. I need space to, you know, hold on. I tell you, being a parent.
We both both had to mute our mics to yell at our kids and be like, hey, y'all need to be quiet.
Oh my God. I can't wait till they go to school. Get these kids out the house. Oh my God. No, it's been a fun summer, but yeah, you know, and so
that's a powerful conversation and a hard conversation. And I think especially in the music world, because a lot of times when you start music, you start with a group of friends doing this thing together, whom you all just hang out. But the problem is that as time goes on, everybody's moving at a different pace.
That's right.
You know? And so sometimes you get out ahead of other folks, and whether it's like they're just not interested, whatever it is, it's like that conversation a lot of people don't have. That's why you see a lot of artists fall off. That's why I see a lot of bands break up. It's because people have a hard time saying, hey, we're running over here now and you're not. So let's figure this out. Is it?
Right.
And like I said, it may not even mean complete disconnect. It's just like, oh, well, maybe every once in a while you can come, you know, hop in and do this thing, but this is where we're focused now.
That's right.
And protect yourself and build those boundaries. And sometimes it does mean completely moving on. And that's hard too.
It's hard.
Not easy.
It's not easy.
I feel like it should be hard, because if it's not hard, then you probably are lacking some kind of empathy in that regard too, where it's like, no, this is hard, but it's the right choice.
It's the right choice. It's needed sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Last question. Right now, how would you define creating great things?
Creating great things is when the song or what you're creating can mean something to someone else. Like, well, I created this song because I was mad at this situation here, but I created it in a place where it's kind of open-ended for someone else to reach their own conclusion or their own feeling from it. You know, that's the beautiful thing about music. A lot of times is somebody hears two people hear the same song and they get different meanings out of it. Mm-hmm. And so if you can masterfully create something where it has the space to mean something different to somebody else, I think that's great, because that's an art in and of itself. And especially with hip hop, because we use so many words, it's easy to get in the pocket of, well, this is what I feel about life, and this is how I feel about certain people, and this is how I feel about. Like,
it's a 6-minute song about how I feel about somebody.
How I feel about something. No, if you could take a subject matter and keep it open ended, I think that's greatness right there.
Yeah, finding that universal, idea, where some people call it simple, but I think there's a difference between simple and universal.
Yeah,
universal has layers that people can wrap themselves up in.
Yeah, a long time ago, I used to be a battle rapper, and I used to compete in a battle league where we were, a lot of times in traditional battle rap, you're tearing down the other person. Like, look at your shoes, look at your unshaven mustache. You're just trying to find stuff to riff on each other, right? Well, this particular battle league was about concepts. It was a concept battle league. Love versus lust, deadbeat dad versus stepdad, juxtapose like different thoughts that was opposite of each other. I loved it was like basically a vice and a virtue, right?
Okay.
I loved when I could write as a vice, and I don't know, even
explore another side of things.
Yeah, even what we label as a vice or a bad characteristic about somebody, finding just like good storytelling in a movie, the best bad guys are the ones that you kind of see their perspective. Like, well, you're
like, damn, I'd be mad too.
I'd be
mad
mad
not blow up the whole world.
Right, right. I get it. On some human level, I get why this bad guy, I just don't agree with his methods, but his thoughts. Killmonger in the first Black Panther.
Yes, great example.
Perfect. Perfect
Thanos.
Example of that.
I've said to friends sometimes, I'm like, Thanos was right.
Thanos was right.
Especially when like you just meet someone who's like just saying some stupid shit. You're like, Thanos was right, man. Some of these people need to get snapped out of
here. Yeah. Either I'm gonna snap or some people need to get snapped out of here. But yeah, so I loved writing from the perspective of the vice, because it's like like as a Christian, I'm conditioned to think from the virtuous side. But it's like, nah, man, let's get into the weeds. Let's dive deep into why even the vice of what we consider as a vice can be understandable. And it's been some of the best writing I've ever had to do, because I'm the bad guy in the story right now of this battle.
Right.
So
I love that.
love
Are you familiar with the Screw Tape Letters?
no, tell me about it.
C.S. Lewis, author, he was like friends with J.R. Tolkien, all that.
Mm.
But C.S. Lewis became a believer, and he wrote the book Mere Christianity and a few others, like The Four Loves is another philosophical
That's
book
awesome.
that he wrote.
Yeah. Okay.
But he wrote this other book that was a story, and it's the Screw Tape Letters, and it's the higher demon writing letters back and forth between the lower demon. And the lower demon is tasked with his first assignment to steer a believer off of their path. And so all the letters are from these demons talking. And it's a very fascinating, whether, even people who are listening, whether you believe in those things or whatever it is, it's still a very fascinating book and a fascinating story of like the subtleties. And so I wonder if, he's passed away obviously, but if C.S. Lewis went through that same concept, because he was trying to live this life of virtue as he saw it, but through that lens had to like put himself in the demons.
I love
mindset.
it.
Yeah. I think you'll like that with that exercise you're talking about, the Screw Tape Letters. It's amazing.
Thank you so much. Yeah. It just makes for better writers, honestly, at the end of the day, when you can understand the other perspective of what you naturally would not go to or think of as a vice or whatever, understanding. And it just makes us all better writers when we can do that. So that's awesome.
Well, and I find it interesting too. I think people, so if you go back 20 years ago, all your comic books would have a hero and they have a villain, and the villain is just vile and the hero is just golden, the Superman kind of thing. But you even see now like a trend, like I feel like audiences don't even accept that anymore.
Yeah, it's too,
because we're like, we got the internet now. Everyone's a little messed up.
Everybody's a little messed up.
We're seeing, so it's like, even like you bring up Killmonger was a great example of that, where it's like people can relate and understand like how he felt pushed aside, and this is him taking back what is his.
Right.
But and even them pulling back of Black Panther, of how like some of the things that were going on behind the scenes that weren't great, and that led to Killmonger. So it's and I almost wonder in songwriting if that's the thing too, where it's everything. If it seems like the things that fit and connect now are just a little off.
I love it.
A little off kilter,
Yeah, because that's what I'm off kiltered. I'm a complex being,
Right.
I don't, I'm flawed. I'm all I am is a bunch of good intentions, a lot of times, and so. Yeah, I love when people can come to that realization, and I'm glad we're at a place in society now where people recognize that. And so as songwriters, let's be honest and real, and I love that stuff, honestly. So
dude, all I am is a bunch of good intentions is really good. That's a good lyric, man. I'm gonna, if I steal it from you, I'm gonna have to just
steal it from me.
Put you in the split sheet. Well, let people know how they can connect with you, check out your music, sign your music, or get some consultations.
Yeah, just everywhere. Omega Sparx, OMEGASPARX, and hit me up. Megasparks at Gmail, or reach out to me on, Facebook or IG or Truth Social. I'm just kidding. But check me out on Truth Social. Yo. I'm just kidding. I am so kidding. I'm not there. It's probably the only place I'm not
Everybody
at
will come for you. They're like, I tried Blue Sky briefly, but it doesn't seem like a lot's going on there. So
it's not. I tried Blue Sky too, but just the IG, Facebook, X. I'm there, and if you want some consultation, that's awesome. Or if you want to sign up for the Sync Alliance with XJ Will, what I'm saying, come on board. That's Miguel and I, we're part of a wonderful community of sync writers and people that's trying to make their claim in the sync space and stuff. And so check us out,
legit, man. I'm not lying, man. Like I joined in November last year. I was like, I've been talking about this licensing thing forever, and it's just time to shut up and do it. All the goals we had, kind of all the behind the scenes stuff were done. I was like, let's go. And I'm personally blown away how much I have grown from
Me too.
As a producer, as a songwriter, as a business person, and then understanding, and even the fact that like, we already got our first, sync library. I got a sync agent. I got, like all within less than a year.
Yeah.
and, now hunting down that
first placement.
Paid placement. So we already got one of those unpaid. I'll put it on the IMDb though. So, well, dude, thank you for making the time. And that was awesome.
Yeah, thank you, man. And keep up the great work. And see, I love this. So this is like your 175th.
Yeah, you'll be 178.
So this is what I love about your platform already is that, while you're searching for your first paid placement, you're already investing in the culture of the sync space. And it's, so I just hope nothing but great things, happen for you and your band in the future, that you would care enough about, the culture and the industry side of what we're trying to do, because, there's a lot of podcasts that just focused on the interviewer or the person, but you have guests on your shows and they give you their perspective and their little nuggets of stuff. That's just really right on, man, to what you're doing. That's just really awesome.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Live and Create podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe and leave a comment or a review.
The Live and Create podcast.